My next guest has got a huge fight coming up. Main event, UFC Fight Night, June 18th against Calvin Kattar. It's Josh Emmett back here on the program. Josh, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Hey, thanks for asking. Not everyone asks how I'm doing, so that's great. I'm doing awesome. This is my last interview of the day, so got to save the best for last, Josh. You know how it goes. Let's start first with this matchup. When did you find out? Because if you looked at the rankings, it seemed like this would have made sense, but when did you find out about the matchup?
Man, I want to say I found out about 7 weeks out. So, I wanted to fight up, but that wasn't looking like it was going to happen. So I literally thought I was going to have to fight someone again behind me, and I was okay with that. But this is the matchup that I want, just because Calvin, he's a dangerous opponent. He's he's coming off a phenomenal win. He's fought some of the best guys, and I feel like a big win over Calvin Kattar on June 18th puts me in line for a title shot. And no disrespect, I'm not looking over him at all. This is going to be a hell of a fight and a tough fight for sure. So he's the one that's standing in front of me, and he's he's the person I have to get past.
And first, if I'm not mistaken here, first main event, I think, since February of 2018. What's it like to get that recognition of the UFC saying, hey, look, we like you so much, we're going to put you on the main event of a card?
Yeah, no, it's definitely nice. But as far as the recognition goes, I'm not a guy that needs any type of recognition. I'm glad though that the UFC sees, they've invested in me. They know the potential, and I am excited to be in the spotlight for this, even though I don't need the recognition.
Oh, I know. You're not a guy. You're not a social media clout chaser, as some people are on social media, right? You're a guy that kind of, keeps to himself and mainly posts travel photos and training photos, right? That's usually your thing, right?
That's my thing. We do a lot. I've been talking. I have some of the guys out here from ESPN. They're filming and doing like a little a series on me, and it's we do so much, but I don't have my camera out the whole time. I enjoy that. I'm in the moment and enjoying the experience. But yeah, you're right.
Your last fight was in December. We're talking about a fight here mid-June or almost July. Was this the right amount of time off, or were you trying to fight sooner than that?
Yeah, I was trying to fight. I wanted to fight in March. There's always a big card in Vegas around my birthday, like March 4th, March 3rd to the 5th. And just things just when it happened, there was some potential that I was going to fight the end of March and possibly April and then May, but nothing ever finalized. And then I wasn't sure when I was going to fight, and I was getting not frustrated, but I was in a sense that I was a little frustrated because I wanted to fight. I want to stay active. I came back after the ACL injury against Dan Ige, and I got the win, but I felt good, so I was like, man, let's go ahead and fight again, and just nothing came through. But this is a great opportunity, and this is the fight that I'm glad that everything kind of worked out the way it was supposed to, and led me to this big fight June 18th.
Were you ever linked to a fight with Calvin before? I know when he was coming off his long layoff after the Holloway fight, I believe, I could be wrong with this, so I want to confirm it. Was your name ever thrown into the mix? Because he ended up fighting Chikadze in January, but were you ever an option there? I was curious.
No. At least they didn't ask me. The only time, I want to say like in 2019 when I fought Michael Johnson, it was between Kattar or Johnson. Mm-hmm. And we picked Michael Johnson because at that time, I was like, Michael Johnson is he has a big following, and he's a phenomenal fighter. So I was like, oh, let's fight him. But now here we are a few years later, about to square off.
Yeah, it comes full circle. Obviously, you guys are both great strikers. That's sort of your bread and butter. Though Calvin, kind of switching up the game plan against Chikadze in his last fight. How do you look at this matchup from a style perspective?
Yeah, styles make fights. Like you said, he's a great striker. I think he's a well-rounded mixed martial artist. Just people haven't seen a whole lot of his wrestling or jiu-jitsu. We saw a glimpse of it when he fought Giga. But man, remember, I come from a wrestling background. I've wrestled at the highest level, junior college, the 4-year level. So it's like I know how to wrestle, and I feel like I'm good. I'm good on the ground as well. So you never know. We'll see how things play out, and I know we'll both be prepared wherever the fight goes.
What did you think of his win over Chikadze? And I'll add a second part to that. Were you expecting him to defeat him?
I did. Yeah, I know Calvin he's a tough guy. I think like one of his strongest attributes, he has many, but he is so damn tough. He's like, he's so tough. he has the will to win as well, and he's going to keep coming forward. Super durable, great striker. Giga, great fighter as well. He's phenomenal kickboxer as well. So I figured if I thought he might implement some type of wrestling, or he would have to crowd him and get out of that kicking range, and use his sharp boxing. But I do feel like he implemented his game plan perfect, and then he would switch to southpaw to take away one of Giga's like strongest strikes, that Giga kick, or that kick to the liver, and he's so fast with it too. So Kattar, he had a game plan, he stuck to it, he did a phenomenal job. But yeah, I think a lot of people were counting him out, but I was like, guy's so tough. And he fought Max, took a year off, he's getting better. And then he came back. He was big underdog. I feel like I'm always the underdog too. So it's like, I like it. I kind of thrive in that underdog, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Underdog mentality, I guess, sort of, because you're, like you said, you're kind of used to it. Do you look at his fight as well with Max Holloway and the fact that Max had 5 rounds and, it was a really one-sided fight, but he wasn't able to actually finish him. Maybe some refs would have stepped in there and stopped it, or maybe some corners would have stopped it, but do you kind of alter the game plan a bit? Because you got a lot of power, you have a lot of knockouts in your career, but you're fighting a guy who's extremely durable.
Yeah, no, exactly. I've seen the Holloway fight a few times, and it's like, Holloway was arguably one of the best featherweights of all time. He has a ridiculous pace that everybody knows. His output and his volume is one of a kind. But yeah, I was surprised how Kattar he would take the shots and he wouldn't back up. He would still he was in the fight. He was throwing big hooks, big punches, elbows, like still trying to march him down. So that's what I'm saying. He's tough as hell, and that's why I will be ready for a 5-round war.
Training camp, usual cast of characters. Who you mainly been working with sort of leading into this fight?
Yeah, so Andre Fili, I was working with him a lot before his fight, and then he's back in the gym now. So he has, his body matches up perfect to Calvin. They're pretty similar in height. They fought each other. Andre has a longer reach. He has a good jab. Also, some guys, Kaleo, you'll see him soon. He's a big up and comer that you guys will see on a big show here in the summer. He'll be a force when he gets in the UFC. And I actually flew out Shane Burgos. So,
did you really? Okay, cool. What's the connection to you and Shane?
Yeah, no, he's just, after we fought, he's just, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. We've just connected, like text and talk here and there. And same thing. He's a phenomenal athlete, great striker. He's long, he's big, he has a great jab, just like Calvin. He's him and his brother. I flew them out this week, and then we've just been working and trying to emulate Calvin's style. So.
That's cool. Yeah, his brother Ryan just fought on the weekend, wasn't it? I think it was one of his first fights, professionally. So
yeah, he made his pro debut on Saturday, and then they flew out here Monday.
That's awesome. And of course, Shane fought Calvin as well. So you've got 2 guys, I guess, that have that familiarity. You said Andre and Shane as well, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And I'm always working with my one of my buddies, Ruben Torres. He's from Sacramento. He's a professional boxer. He's a great boxer, and so he's helped me out through my entire career, and we're getting a lot of rounds in because he has sharp boxing, and I know Kattar does as well.
How long is Shane staying over there in California, helping you train? How long is he going to be there?
For now, a week, but he's loving it out here. He's never been to California, and he's loving Sacramento, and he wants to do some sightseeing, but we have kind of a strict schedule right now, but he's going to try to possibly extend it a little bit so he can go see some stuff with his brother.
That's good. And I know Shane was dealing with COVID, so glad to hear that he's healthy again, because I know that was one of the reasons we haven't seen him. So he's been battling COVID for a while.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what he said. But man, we sparred like 6 rounds hard today, and it didn't feel like that's affecting him at all.
Cool. That's good to hear. And one last thing on Alpha Male, I got to mention this. I'm Canadian. I have to bring this up. Mike Malott getting that UFC debut win. How cool was that? As someone who I know you guys are all tight there at Alpha Male, that must have been awesome to see.
Yeah, no, Malott is he's such a good guy, as you know, and he was fighting for a long time, and then he took the coaching role, and then he went back to fighting, and then look at him. he's so good. Like the guy is good everywhere. He can finish fights on his feet. His jiu-jitsu is so damn slick. You know what I mean? So it's awesome to see the success that he's having on the Contender Series, and then his pro debut against a big name guy. Mickey Gall has been in the UFC for a while. He's really well rounded and a good fighter, and I think that was the perfect matchup for Mike to just elevate his career, and I'm looking forward to his future just because he deserves a lot because he's such a good guy and such a good friend and fighter.
Today, at the time of recording this, it's May 18th. Your fight is on June 18th. I know you cut a lot of weight. Is that process starting now, or does that happen closer to fight time? I'm curious, especially as you get older, right?
Yeah, I'm right now. I'm only like 190, so no, I'm just kidding. No, weight's going good. It's I feel like I've been doing this for a while. I work with one of the best teams as far as dietitians and stuff like that, and I've been in the gym since basically my fight December 11th was over. I came back in January, so I've been training. Even though you were saying I've had like this long layoff, but it's I don't know 5 months, but I'm not fighting. But I've been in the gym, so I've been getting better everywhere. I feel sharp. I feel like I could have fought at the end of March. I could have fought at the end of April. So everything just kind of works out the way it's supposed to. And man, I feel good. Weight's good, and I still have 4.5 weeks. And I could fight this weekend. Here we are, like 32 days out, and I've been in camp basically for a long time. Not technically Calvin, but I've been working with the same people, and I always work with Andre. He's a great training partner and friend of mine, and we've been working for over a decade together. So we're always like main training partners.
How's this fight playing out on June 18th?
I'm getting my hand raised. No matter what, I'm willing to, like I always say, endure whatever it takes. I will not quit. There's no quit in me. I'm getting my hand raised. It's a huge opportunity. Main event in Austin, Texas, at a brand new arena, the Moody Center, and I know this is going to be a hell of a fight for the fans, for the UFC, and I'm going to impress everyone. I want the best Calvin Kattar, so I can show everyone how great I am.
Do you think he's fought someone with as much power as you?
No, I don't think so. I feel like, he fought Jeremy Stephens. Jeremy Stephens has a lot of power, a phenomenal fighter. But no, I don't think he's fought anyone with as much power as me. I would say Stephens would be closest to that, though.
Yeah, well said. July 2nd, we got the top of your division, Max Holloway, the champ, Alexander Volkanovski. Who do you see winning that trilogy fight between the two? Who do you see getting it done?
Man, it's tough just because it's like Volkanovski, the first fight, decisively, I had him winning 4 out of the 5 rounds. And then the second fight was so close, you know what I mean? And somewhat controversial, but Max continues to get better and better. Even though he's at the top of his game, the guy still gets better and better. It's really impressive. I'm a fan of both of the guys. Volkanovski still gets better and better. So I don't know how it plays out. But they know each other so well. They fought each other for 50 minutes. And so I'm curious, but like I always say, I really hate making predictions, and that's why I'm gambling just for fun. But it's like, because I can play out like how Max wins, I can play out how Volkanovski wins, but it's also hard to go against the champion that is on like some 21 or 22 fight winning streak. He's undefeated in the UFC, beat some of the best guys in the world. So I think Volkanovski, and in my eyes, I think he's the GOAT, you know what I mean? Because he's beat all the GOATs. But Max Holloway also he's right there. It's just styles make fights, like you say. And man, I'm excited for that fight and just to see how things play out, though.
Does the winner of this fight get the winner of that fight, do you think?
I think so. So that's why that's not even, it's always, of course, I want to be a world champion, but I cannot overlook a tough and dangerous Calvin Kattar. So he's the guy that's right in front of me. I get my hand raised on June 18th, then that's talk after that. Then okay. I'll have something already made up in my head. But
there you go.
I have to get through Calvin Kattar.
Absolutely. Yeah. You never overlook anyone. I was the one who asked the question, Josh. So there you go. That's kind of what I was thinking. Okay. Your contract, I was curious how many more fights you have left, because this is a pretty big matchup. I imagine things are looking good for your contract status.
Yeah. I had 2 fights left on my contract, but with this fight, they gave me a new 5-fight deal. So
Five
I was
fights? Congrats, man. That's awesome.
I was hoping to do like a 3 or 4 fight deal, but they didn't have to do anything, so they locked me in for 5 fights. But that's, yeah, it's awesome. I'm super excited. I'm grateful for Dana, Sean, and Hunter for the contract. So yeah, I couldn't be more excited about it.
Were you surprised by that, or did you kind of, or like, what was sort of your reaction to getting 5 fights? That's pretty awesome that they're willing to invest in you like that.
Yeah, normally it's like I like 3 or 4 fights, you know what I mean? So then we can constantly keep renegotiating. But they didn't, like I said, they didn't have to give me anything because I have 2 fights left, and they were willing to, hey, let's add on 3 more fights and give you a 5-fight deal. So man, I'm pumped about it. It's definitely helping. We're in the process of building my mom a ADU, a house in our backyard, and we
Oh,
completely,
cool.
it's all dirt and stuff like that. So the contract's definitely going to help.
Good for
Kind of
you, man.
fun.
That's awesome. What does it mean though? You've, and this is something we've talked about. You've had a really long MMA career in terms of, getting to the UFC, having to fight really good opposition on the regional scene. You get in the UFC, you've had some really, like, you fought really tough opposition, and now here you are, another headlining fight, and you got a new contract and you get to help your mom out. Like, what does that mean to you?
No, it means everything. That's the only reason why I fight. Like I know people just want to be the best fighter on the planet. Like I 100% do it for the money. I do want to be a champion, and I will hold gold eventually. But yeah, it's great. It's kind of surreal. You know what I mean? It's like I fight because I feel like I'm good at it, and I want to be able to provide for my family, for my friends, my family, my mom, my wife, just everything. And and I say surreal because it's like things that I always dreamed of doing. It's like I can do now, and we have been doing for the past several years. And I would not be in this position, or I wouldn't have been able to do a lot of the things if it was not for the UFC. So like I said, just extremely grateful for everything that's kind of came my way, and I still feel like we're still just getting started.
2 more quick questions. I know we're over time. I do appreciate the time, by the way. Henry Cejudo, we're hearing that he's back in the USADA pool. He wants to fight Volkanovski. Obviously, Holloway's going to fight Volkanovski next, but what do you think about him, trying to come into your division and get a potential title shot?
Yeah, it's like at the end of the day, it's more power to him. I haven't really thought too much about it, but it's like if he wants to come back into the testing pool, and I say, hey, give it to him. You know what I mean? It's like he he was the flyweight champion, the bantamweight champion. Like he said, he'd be the first person ever to potentially hold 3 belts, but I don't even think anyone's even tried for the 3rd belt. Am I wrong?
Yeah, not that I can think of. I know guys that have gone up different weight classes or maybe had
Yeah.
title shots in different weight classes, but yeah.
But so that would be 3. Even trying to accomplish that, the 3rd title, I think would be history. So who knows? We'll have to see what Dana says. In the end, it's up to him. So
Yeah. No, we'll see. But as far as him coming back and getting a title shot, you wouldn't mind that? Because I was just, I know there's some fighters in the weight class being like, hey, you got to pay your dues in the division. I guess you're more about, hey, it's entertainment, right?
yeah, I guess whatever. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how I feel. It's all up to Dana. So if Dana wants that, then that's going to happen. If he doesn't, it won't happen. So it's like I feel like my opinion on a lot of things doesn't mean anything. So I just
Okay.
I don't really care.
Fair enough. No, hey, listen, I like the honesty there. That's great. Okay, my last question. We always talk about this in our interviews. Any travel plans booked? I know the focus is on the Calvin Kattar fight, but do you got anything booked, especially with things opening up now?
Yeah, not yet, but or actually we do in August. So we plan on going out to Austin. We're gonna stay out there. My wife and I and family and friends. We're gonna stay out there for, I don't know, probably like an extra 3-4 days. I've been to Austin before. My little brother used to live out there. I visited him. His girlfriend, her entire family is from there, and she is. So they have all the spots and restaurants kind of lined up where we're eating after the fight, of course. But then a bunch of us, it's my wife and I and like 10 of our other friends. We're going to Chicago for a week. We're gonna do this, like we call it, like trifecta. We're going to the Red Hot Chili Peppers concert on Friday. Saturday we're going to a Cubs game, and then Sunday we're going to a Bears game. And then we're gonna obviously eat a bunch of food. I have a lot of my family is out in the Illinois area. South of Chicago. My dad he was raised and grew up in Chicago. So we're just going to do a lot of fun things. Chicago is one of my favorite cities. And then possibly we'll definitely book somewhere exciting. Like my wife and I would like to go out of the country. We haven't been out of the country since, the start of the pandemic, like or before the pandemic started. We were in Vietnam in February of 2020. So we barely made it back here to the US. But we definitely want to go out of the country. We've been having, what am I saying? Yeah, we're just excited. I was going to say withdrawals. Yeah, we've been having
travel withdrawals. No worries. Listen, you get hit in the head for a living, so I don't expect everything to come out.
I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, no, that's great, man. It's awesome. I did Chicago, by the way, and I do my traveling the same way. Is I'll tie it in with some sporting event. So I also did the Chicago Cubs thing, and I saw Pearl Jam at Wrigley Field. This was years ago, and it was unreal. Like if you're gonna travel and you're a sports fan, there's nothing better than combining the two, right? So you and I are very similar that way.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Actually, that concert. So it rained, and they had to they had to delay the concert because it's outdoors. And so they had to delay it for like 2 hours. Pearl Jam came back on and played till like 3 a.m. It was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. So Eddie Vedder, shout out to him for being a true performer and toughing it out. Kind of like you in this interview, Josh. We toughed this one out, and I really appreciate it. You got the UFC crew filming you. You got all these other things going on. You got people ringing the doorbell at the door and everything. I really appreciate it, man. If there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to plug, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, no, everyone can find me on Instagram and Twitter. It's Josh Emmett UFC, JoshEmmett UFC. I have Facebook, same thing. I just dropped my shirt. There's this, he's a extremely talented and famous artist out of Sacramento, David Garibaldi. And he did this. He does paintings and portraits, and he's so damn talented. But he just did this. I just threw it on my Instagram. We're doing shirts, the official fight tee for UFC Austin for me, and he's also doing prints if people want to check that out. All the sponsors and everything, like more of my fight shirts and anything news related to me, is on joshemmett.com. So everyone go check that out. And yeah, thanks for having me on.